Hey everyone, welcome to today's Explainer. We're going to do something a bit different today. We are completely unpacking a really fascinating real estate pitch that just dropped from JS Associates. It's all about this sudden, pretty unexpected property boom in Faisal Hills. Look, if you follow regional real estate, you know how fast market sentiment can flip, right? Well, JS Associates has just put out a very strong forecast based on some real-time on-the-ground market behavior. It definitely demands a closer look. So let's dive in and see exactly what they're claiming.
First up, the big question. Why did a notoriously slow post-Eid property market suddenly spike on day 4? Traditionally, right after the major Eid holidays, the real estate market is, well, it's pretty sluggish. People take a long time to get back into the swing of things. But according to the source, this year was a total anomaly. A rapid flurry of buying and selling just hit the market by the 4th working day after the break. That kind of aggressive shift is bound to catch a lot of people off guard.
So, here's how we're going to break this all down today. 1. The post-Eid market surge. 2. What's driving the boom. 3. A direct comparison of Faisal Hills versus Taxila. 4. Current prices and projections. And finally, number 5, the investment window.
Part 1. The post-Eid market surge. Breaking the traditional real estate slump.
Okay, the timing here is absolutely crucial. It's basically the foundation of their entire market analysis. Days 1 through 3 are your standard Eid holidays. The market is totally closed. But then, on day 4, instead of that slow, sluggish recovery, boom, we see a sudden, sharp spike in sales and purchases. And JS Associates points out that this abrupt early activity didn't just fizzle out. Actually, it kicked off what they project to be a highly critical 2 to 5 month window of intense market activity. The momentum just started instantly.
Part 2. What's driving the boom? The catalyst behind the sudden interest.
So what is actually pulling people in right now? Well, the short answer is visible construction. The JS Associates analysis highlights a staggering 80 to 90% increase in construction activity in just the last 6 to 8 months alone. That is huge. They claim if you were to compare footage of the area from earlier this year to today, the difference is literally night and day. This boom is heavily concentrated in the B block of Faisal Hills, focusing mostly on larger 10 and 14 Marla plots. People aren't just holding on to land anymore, they are actively putting bricks in the ground.
And a big driver for that is the demand for modern infrastructure. Buyers are rapidly moving away from older, cramped neighborhoods. They want the whole shebang: networks of main double roads, completely functional sewage systems, dedicated water channels, expansive parks, and comprehensive civic centers. Today's buyers want heavily planned communities, not just an isolated plot of dirt.
You probably also noticed the mention of a markaz in there. Having a dedicated commercial and civic hub integrated directly into the sector is a massive lifestyle upgrade. It means localized shopping, dining, and essential services are right on your doorstep. To truly get the appeal of Faisal Hills in this pitch, you have to recognize that this built-in convenience is something older, organically grown neighboring cities they simply can't provide it.
Which brings us to Part 3. Faisal Hills versus Taxila, a comparative market analysis.
This direct contrast is essentially the core argument JS Associates uses to win over potential buyers. Take the older adjacent area of Taxila, for example. Over there, you're dealing with, 8 to 10 foot narrow streets, and buying a 10 Marla plot in that environment is still going to run you about 1.5 crore. But right next door in Faisal Hills, you get those massive main double roads, modern sewerage, and the exact same 10 Marla plot size costs you significantly less, just 1 crore. The presenter argues that this glaring price disparity for vastly superior infrastructure makes Faisal Hills a complete no-brainer.
Part 4. Current prices and projections. Analyzing the financial forecast.
To really anchor their pricing argument, JS Associates leans heavily into location and accessibility. They point out that these plots in Faisal Hills are just a quick 15 to 20-minute drive away from highly desirable main Islamabad sectors like D12, E11, and F10. So the pitch here is you were securing modern infrastructure at a fraction of central Islamabad prices while remaining incredibly close to the capital's center.
And because of that extreme proximity to the capital, combined with the high-end infrastructure, Farouk Javed from JS Associates makes a remarkably bold pitch. He actually calls the current 1 crore price tag for a 10 Marla plot an absolutely free package, or free of cost. Now let's be real for a second. 1 crore isn't exactly pocket change, so it's obviously not literally free. But his rhetorical point is that relative to what he sees as the location's true ceiling, the current market price right now is vastly undervalued.
And here is the long-term hook of their pitch. You start with the current plot price of 1 crore.
JS Associates forecast that if you build a house on that 10-marla plot, the finished property's market value could absolutely skyrocket to between 5 and 5.5 crore in just one single year. That is a massive projected leap, and they attribute it entirely to the sheer rapid pace of development happening right now. Basically, as more people build simultaneously, the neighborhood's overall prestige and value just surges upward.
Finally, Part 5. The investment window. Timing the market.
The source material creates a very distinct sense of urgency regarding exactly when an investor needs to make a move. JS Associates wraps up their market analysis with a clear three-step action plan. Step 1. Capitalize on what they consider base prices right now, firmly asserting that the upward trend in the market is only just getting started. Step 2, and naturally this is where their business comes in, is a pitch suggesting investors use professional real estate and engineering services like theirs to streamline the buying and building process and ensure quality. And Step 3 is the strategy itself. Hold the plot or actively develop it during this newly opened post-EID 2 to 5 month hype window. They firmly argue there will never be a more opportune time to enter this specific market.
Which leaves us with one final, pretty provocative question. Based entirely on the developer's forecast, with prices allegedly just beginning to rise and massive, undeniable construction underway, is this the final window to enter the Faisal Hills market before it prices out the average investor? It's a really compelling pitch, driven by some stark infrastructure comparisons and aggressive development data. I highly encourage you to take this structured breakdown, use it to seek further insights, and maybe do your own research on the ground. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for this explainer. Stay curious and keep learning.